Welcome to the Instant Wrestling Report. Alongside my partners Quad, Robert, and Alberto Del Ryan. Go for that ADR pick for the Royal Rumble. Alright, for today's edition of the Instant Wrestling Report, we're going to do our top 10 Royal Rumble moments of all time. You know, with the Royal Rumble coming up, we decided to, go over the big moments that has happened in the now, I think, like 20-something year history of the Royal Rumble, going back to 1988. So, to start out, I'm going to go with my number 10. Will be from 1999's Royal Rumble when Vince McMahon won the entire thing, coming out number 2 after Stone Cold Steve Austin. I really wasn't a fan of this happening at the time. I just thought, since it's a huge moment, it needed to be on my top 10 list. It was so great. Moving on to the St. Valentine's Day Massacre a month later after that, where they had that brutal steel cage match with Stone Cold and Vince, where Vince took some of the nastiest bumps I've ever seen in my life, where he went through that table and hit right on his spinal cord, but pretty nasty. And then moving on to WrestleMania 15, which was the first of the great 3-match series that they had at 3 different WrestleManias with The Rock and Stone Cold. So I just thought it leaded up to a great WrestleMania, and it was a big moment. So I got Vince McMahon winning the Royal Rumble, Royal Rumble 99.
My number 10 is Santino Marella, lasting 1 second, in the Rumble in 2009. Just him running out like he's going to do something. Saw Kane. Kane saw him. There goes Santino.
There goes the Warlord's record.
So that's my number 10 is Santino.
My number 10 came from the 2008 Royal Rumble, which was a surprise number 30 entrance, John Cena. Everybody thought he would be out for 9, 10, 12 months. He comes back after 4 months to win the Rumble. For all you Cena fans out there, when he goes like this, that means he has 3 moves and 0 talent.
You have him number 10.
Number 10. Exactly.
For my number 10, I have Vince McMahon winning the Royal Rumble in 99 also. Like I said, at the time, I really just thought it was absolutely stupid. I just didn't understand it. But it made you hate him so much, and it made you want Stone Cold to win so much, and it was the perfect thing. It wasn't like Vince winning the ECW title and he thought he was crazy. That was ridiculous.
It was bald.
Just stupid. And he looked like an idiot. This actually had a lot of sense. It made a lot of sense. The whole thing about them doing it, and coming back with the ambulance and coming in there and
no chance in hell.
And getting down to him, Big Boss Man and D'Lo Brown. That was just the most random whatever. And then Vince coming in and them saving him. But I just thought it was one of those things where you were like, why? That makes no sense. And then later on you're like, well, that makes a lot of sense, and it makes great sense for the future what they did. Yeah. So I think I got that number 10.
Number 9 for me is going to be one of my favorite parts from the 2010 Royal Rumble. When CM Punk came out, I think it was like second or third or something like that, took everybody out of the ring, and then started cutting some of the best promos I've ever heard in my life. Talking about this and that, talking about he's going to be the first ever straight edge champion, which of course, if you watch the Instant Wrestling Report, you know why I love that. But it's so great, and then they brought out Great Khali, and brought out Beth Phoenix, who's the only second woman in the Rumble, and then GTS'd her, which was hilarious, and then kept cutting promos, and then finally, I think Triple H came out and they eliminated him later, but just those little, 3 or 4 promos in that about 10-minute time period was just hilarious, and I loved it, and just classic CM Punk for number 9.
My number 9 is back in 2004, even though after this, he did some stupid things.
Yeah,
and
very. This is about the wrestling, though.
Yeah, but Chris Benoit coming out at number 1 and winning the Rumble. When he came out number 1, nobody really thought he had a chance, just because it's only happened a handful of times. But him coming out and lasting the whole Rumble, and then eliminating everybody, and then him winning the title in that Mania, I don't know. It's kind of a touchy subject of outside of the ring with Benoit, but inside the ring, he was probably one of the hardest workers. So, yeah. Chris Benoit is my number 9.
Number 9 for me wasn't even the Royal Rumble match. It was a match in 2005, the Heartbreak Kid Shawn Michaels versus Edge. Wasn't the greatest match either guy had, but you put 2 of the best wrestlers in a match in a Rumble like that, and it was a pretty good match, just the 2 of them together. So it was number 9 for me, with Shawn versus Edge at 2005.
All right, for my number 9, I got Punk on the mic. This 2010. The stuff he did just made that so enjoyable. The beginning of that was great. We didn't steal each other's picks.
We did not.
No, we did not steal each other's picks. No, but the stuff he did was great. And he had Zack Ryder come out and he was like, you have potential. And he just hit him in the head with the mic, and just all the stuff he did, GTS and Beth, and just the whole thing, cutting promos, and just it was the funny thing was he came out, he was a heel. People were booing him. Then he kept cutting promos, and then
Yeah.
you slightly hear CM Punk.
Yep.
CM Punk.
It's hard not to.
It was just awesome. It was one of the most enjoyable things that they've done the Rumble last year, and
Yeah.
I loved it.
Number 8, I'm going with a match that some people could say maybe made one of the biggest wrestlers of all time in Triple H. I'm going with Triple H versus Cactus Jack at the 2000 Royal Rumble in Madison Square Garden. I just thought this was such a brutal street fight they had for the WWF title. Great build-up to it. With this feud ended up going on, at the next pay-per-view, No Way Out having that Hell in a Cell match where they ended up retiring Mick Foley for about a month, but then he came back for WrestleMania. But this is just a brutal match, and really people looked at Triple H as a guy, can he go in there with Mick Foley, or as a Cactus Jack as he was, go in there with him and, have the street fight and look like it. And it was one of the best matches in Royal Rumble history, definitely, and deserved my number 8 position at the time.
My number 8 was in 2001 when Kane eliminated 11 people. Record that's still held today, and a record that probably be held for a long time.
Kane could be did this year or something.
Might be broke this year.
Never know, yeah.
Just because Kane eliminating almost half of the people in there, and then him getting eliminated himself, but just his dominant force in that Rumble. But number 8's Kane.
Number 8 for me was the 2009 Rumble when Kane eliminated Santino Marella after 1 second, breaking a 20-year record held by the Warlord. Every Royal Rumble moment you see this, the Warlord 2 seconds, Santino beat it with 1 second, Santino is a pretty decent wrestler if they give him the opportunity to be that, but WWE just craps on him by giving him 1 second in the Rumble.
Boris Alexov, OVW, look it up.
There you go.
Santino's character. I even made for him. But anyway, my number 8 is Rock. The Rock versus Mick Foley in '99, the I Quit match. Some of the chair shots Mick Foley took in this match were the sickest I've ever heard in my life. It sounded like shotguns. Like, Mick Foley is crazy. Letting him do that. Like, the match itself was great, but one of the things I loved about this match was, if you've seen the Beyond the Mat DVD, you know that Mick Foley's wife and 2 kids are in the front row during this match, and they are cringing and crying when he's getting hit in the face. Like, it's almost like, it's like one of those things where you're like, wow, you realize that these wrestlers, they're not just wrestlers. They have families. They have people,
and that was real.
And it was real. And he really got hit like hard.
Yeah.
Like they weren't just faking it. And seeing his wife and kids in the front row, they weren't acting. They weren't part of the show. And they talk about the Beyond the Mat thing, and I think that was one of the greatest things. And if you've seen it, it's out of this world, and the match is great. And Rock and Mick always had great chemistry, and I loved it.
Yeah, I'll come back to that. If you're a wrestling fan, definitely check out the Beyond Mat because it's really good. Number 7, I'm going with the interesting little part of the Royal Rumble match that happened in 2007. Was the ending in moments, which is about like 10 to 12 minutes, I think it was, with Shawn Michaels and The Undertaker, and then Undertaker ends up moving on and winning the Royal Rumble. But just the back and forth they had an amazing just match inside of the Royal Rumble. It made everybody feel like they wanted that match with The Undertaker and Shawn Michaels that they hadn't seen before 10 years before that. And I love that little ending to the 2007 Royal Rumble, so that's my number 7, obviously.
We did not plan this. My next number 7 is from the same Rumble he was talking about, and that's Taker winning it. Just the back and forth with him and Shawn, and then him beating Shawn, which everybody was hoping Shawn would win that, but Taker...
I think there's a lot pulling for both, because they're both
it was a good
stars, yeah.
back and forth match.
The 2 of them together in the ring.
Even though it wasn't supposed to be a singles match, it seemed like at the end of it was going to be a singles match. And then this Taker winning it, he deserved it, and then went on to Mania. So that's my number 7.
My number 7 comes from the 1998 Royal Rumble, when the first time we see the same person appear in the Rumble 3 different times. The 3 faces of Foley: Cactus Jack, Dude Love, and Mankind. Every time you get eliminated, you go back, change, and come back out as the other character. Mick Foley can put on pretty decent matches.
Great matches.
He can cut a promos.
You see the right ones.
Just the 3 faces of him, his whole career. He started as Cactus Jack, went to Mankind, went to Dude Love. So it was just the 3 faces of Foley in the 98 Rumble.
My number 7 is from the 92 the Rumble. Actually, a lot of people actually like the match. The match is good. It's a really long, but my personal favorite actually from this is actually Flair's promo after he wins, where with a tear in my eye, and just the promo he cuts, and you could tell he was just really like emotional. He's won titles before, but this seemed like something really, really big that he just felt like needed to be accomplished. and he did, and I feel like it was one of the better promos he's cut in his career, and I think that it meant a lot to that pay-per-view.
Yeah.
Him coming from WCW and what they did to him, him WWF at the time giving him the go-ahead, hey, we want you to be in there and one of our top guys.
My number 6 is going to be one that Ryan had on his list, and another trend that we find here with Mick Foley. But I'm going with the Mankind versus Rock I Quit match for the WWE title at the 1999 Royal Rumble. This is just a great match, and to me, almost was like the Triple H match, where a lot of people, Rock won his first title in November of the year before that at Survivor Series, and really, was running with the corporation and really had to get that flow and really proved himself that he could be in different types of matches, just in the regular kind of things they had. And those, they had brutal matches, last man standing match the month after that, just crazy stuff. And, Mick Foley really loves to put over those kind of guys that are the up-and-coming guys, and Rock and Triple H, obviously, with my number 8 there. But and we're talking about the Beyond the Mat thing, which was great, too, and seeing how, real things actually were. And I think he took, something close to, 20 chair shots to the head, and it was just nuts. And Rock was hilarious, too, throughout the thing. When they put the mic in his mouth, and he was like, "You kiss my ass," or, stuff like that, which is hilarious. But my number 6 for that one.
My number 6 is in 1998 when Shawn beat Taker in a casket match, retaining the title. It was a good back and forth match. It was a casket match, which gave Shawn a little difficult odds because it's a casket match and Undertaker. But that's my number 6.
Number 6 for me was Nature Boy Ric Flair won the 1992 Royal Rumble to win the WWF Championship at the time. I think the only time that the title's been on the line for the Rumble. So number 6 for me was, woo! Ric Flair winning the Rumble and the WWF title.
My number 6 is Benoit. They had this in the 04 Rumble. They had this thing where, in the beginning, where Benoit and Orton were going back and forth a lot, and another guy would come in, and then they would throw him out, and then they would go back to what they were doing. And I just loved the interaction they had with each other. The match inside the match that they were doing, how they were building everything out, and then Foley came out and got rid of Orton. But that area in between where they were they went off just head to head with each other, seeing how great their match they had later on at SummerSlam could be, and with Benoit throwing that one he was trying to throw the guy out, but he threw the guy's hair out to Ernest the Cat Miller, and him and Orton just going back and forth and finding more people came. But I love that first part of that Rumble. It was one of my favorite beginnings of a Rumble.
Very good. That will wrap up our first part of our Royal Rumble moments. We'll be sure to catch us out for our second part, which will be the top 5. For Ryan, Robert, and Quad, I am your host, J-Man. Thank you for watching the Instant Wrestling Report, your source for professional wrestling news, information, and opinions instantly.
This is a battleground!